Endorphin-Opiate connection. Endorphins are the body's natural painkillers. Our bodies can produce what is essentially morphine. Opiate drugs take the place of this natural neurochemistry, and long-term use of opiates will shut off the natural production. Then, when a person comes off the opiates, there is nothing to block the pain, and even the slightest touch or even digestion can register as extreme pain. This is one reason why these drugs are so addictive, because coming off of them hurts. This is what endorphins look like at the synapse. A pain impulse comes down the pipe, and endorphins are released to soften the amount of pain that is felt. In this example, the stimulus is a soft touch to the arm. Without endorphins, this touch might register as pain. Opiates do the same thing as endorphins. What happens, however, is that the receptors, over time, downregulate to the drug because the body perceives pain as its friend, saving the body from damage. It then takes more and more of the drug in order to achieve a pain-limiting response. The way to relieve this conundrum is twofold. We taper the amount of drug while building up the neurochemistry with endorphin precursors. This makes it so that the neurochemistry can adapt to the shift, and the person is relieved from experiencing ridiculous amounts of pain. This preloading with endorphin-building amino acids and tapering process can be usually achieved in about 2 to 4 weeks. Suboxone is sometimes used as an intermediary. Chronic pain situations can also exhaust endorphins, as the body is trying to continually keep up with a dampening pain response. Allergen foods can also exhaust endorphins. When an allergic response is triggered, there is inflammation. The body tries to dampen the pain from the inflammation using endorphins. People can get addicted to allergen foods because they get addicted to the endorphin release. This is termed allergic addicted. People who have exhausted their endorphins will often crave opiates and inflammatory foods. Endorphins also block emotional pain, or specifically, the amount of emotion we pick up from other people. Our emotional brain is called our limbic brain. All mammals have this limbic brain, including our dogs and cats. It is normal and natural to be able to sense someone's emotions from a distance. It is this ability that allows us to avoid threats and be drawn towards bonding experiences that increase our chances of survival. We can tell if the person in the car next to us has road rage, and that can trigger an anger response in us. We have a whole different feeling if they're attracted to us and are trying to get our phone number. We can feel if a person is anxious, bored, excited, mad, or sad. If someone is low in endorphins, they tend to overfeel people, which can be very uncomfortable. lower endorphin people can feel others more. It can be a wonderful gift in many ways. Some of our best artists are geared this way. They can feel the emotions of others and can resonate with it in an often amazing way. Though once famous, the continual feeling of everyone putting attention on them can grind them down, spending what little endorphins they have. Often, these folks turn to painkillers and sedatives to cope, as in the cases of Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. The world can be unkind to these beautiful spirits. They are exactly the kind of persons who have difficulty managing all of the attention. Extreme emotional trauma, especially prolonged threats, can burn out endorphins too. When someone is in a war situation or is at threat of being traumatized, it is natural for the neurochemistry to want to perceive threats faster so as to avoid getting killed. So an adaptive mechanism to ongoing threats is to lower the endorphins so that a person can feel what is going on around them more. The lowered endorphins allow for this, but over time, a person begins to feel threats even when there are none. This is a possible contributing mechanism behind PTSD. PTSD has been shown at our clinic to respond favorably to endorphin repair. There is a genetic disposition for low endorphins. Those who have the A1 allele on the D2 dopamine receptor of the 11th chromosome do not transmit endorphins as well. And so basically, they are low endorphin and may have an addictive biochemistry that drives them towards opiates. Cutting is also a sign of low endorphins, as the pain causes a release of endorphins and helps provide an emotional distance from whatever that person is feeling. The hallmark of low endorphins is extreme emotional sensitivity, specifically the inability to block others' emotions. A diet low in protein and high in sugar can also debilitate someone into a low endorphin state, as can emotional trauma. High arsenic levels have also appeared very frequently in those with pain and sensitivity issues. Classic tell signs of endorphin deficiency: overfeels others' emotions to the point of frequent discomfort, chronic pain, cutting, opiate addiction. To address endorphin deficient issues, supplements: endorphin packs by New Pathways and NAC. Toxic impairment: clear up arsenic using NAC. Stop smoking if possible. Cigarettes contain arsenic. Persons smoking are 3 to 4 times as likely to relapse on opiates, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Diet: eliminate sugar and caffeine. Include protein-based foods. Sugar poisons endorphins and proteins build them. If vegan, include as heavy of vegan proteins as you can and limit light foods like fruits. Remove foods that the person shows an addictive tendency towards. Environment. Increase physical activity, specifically weightlifting. Muscle building exercises break down muscle tissue in order to expand. This releases endorphins, which is a good thing. Remove oneself from emotionally charged living situations or at work. Repeated insults to one's emotional stability can thwart endorphin building efforts. If coming off of opiates, consider switching to Suboxone. Induct Suboxone for only 2 weeks and then taper off of the Suboxone during those 2 weeks. Otherwise, a person can taper the existing opiate while building up endorphins using the endorphin packs. If on methadone, the best cessation plan is to obtain a pain diagnosis and then be put on an equivalent of a short-acting opiate like oxycodone for 3 days. After those 3 days, they can then convert the Suboxone and taper off over a 2-week period. Dark chocolate also has an effect on endorphins. Chocolate contains phenethylamine, also known as PEA. PEA is a brain chemical that is released when you feel like you're falling in love. PEA triggers the release of endorphins. There are also 2 alcoholic types that are associated with endorphin deficiency that we will cover near the end of this chapter.